Well, that was 1978, and I'd been searching for funding for Indianapolis ever since the previous year. I approached hundreds of companies, sponsor finders who would say, "Oh, this will be like falling off a log. A year ago, they were saying you couldn't make the field, and now you've been qualifying and finishing in the top 10. This will be a piece of cake." Well, guess what? They couldn't find sponsorship. But at the very last minute, a month before the opening of practice, Texaco came through with enough money to buy the car and hire the crew and do all the other wonderful things that a team owner gets to do. Rent the apartments for the crew, rent the furniture for the apartments for the crew. Although we had some problems during the race, we ended up with a top 10 finish. I don't play tennis, but I was persuaded to participate in a tennis match for charity. And at one point, I tripped over my own feet and fractured my wrist. So that just added to the tension, although frankly, it wasn't the biggest problem we had in that race. We had some other problems. I figured the best we could do with that car was probably fifth, but with the problems we had, for example, a clogged vent in the trackside fuel supply, we ended up with a ninth, and I thought, well, I'll take it. Well, in 79, I had Texaco for the Indianapolis 500, and it was the only time I had my hands on a car that I thought was capable of running up front. And at the start of the race, I really thought I was going to be in the hunt all day. But instead, I had four burned pistons at the end of the first lap for reasons that have never been clear. I believe that it is still more difficult for a woman driver to find the funding for this very expensive sport than it is for a man of equal capabilities. But that was what basically forced me out of racing at the top levels. Well, back then it was just shocking to everyone that a woman could qualify and finish in the top 10. I mean, had been completely unthinkable. But now it doesn't cause a commotion, but I believe women still have a harder time finding funding. There are so many capable women out there: Catherine Legg, Simona Di Silvestro. I could go on, but even Pippa Mann, who is in the field this year, she has a one-race deal with a team that is not a front-running team. And you're not going to run up front in a situation like that. You need a good team that you work with all year long so you know each other's moves and have the whole act together in order to run up front. Bring money. Bring lots and lots of money. I've always said what we need is a woman with all the stuff that it takes: the talent, the desire, the determination, and her own fortune. And then we'll see a woman in Victory Circle.